Hi Flosstube! So, my last video, I was super nervous. I know, that's kind of how everybody is, their first video. I jumped right into it. It was a spur of the moment thing. I'm talking louder today. Thank you for all of the positive feedback, constructive criticism, that's how I view it. And it's been great. So I am talking louder today. I do have my iPad in a stand. I'm hoping that it's not blocking the microphone so that this is easy to hear. I have it at a different angle. It's not landscape, it's more vertical, and so the camera's up higher. I think it's a little bit more face on. I have the window facing me this time, so the light should be easier to deal with. I did take all of your comments into consideration, and I'm trying to make this the best channel I can. Best male floss tube. Let's start a vote right now. Right now, it's totally Coffee Stitcher. Like, Coffee Stitcher totally has me beat. And then it's a tie between Stitching and Sound and Ginger Gerald Stitcher. I miss both of you, by the way. If either one of you see this, like, I miss you both. I miss the male floss tubers just because then I don't feel so alone. And there are lots of them. A lot of them. So I might go over some more of them in my Fangirl. I do have show notes today. Show notes. So, the show notes should help with the ums. And will keep me on track so that I can be progressive. We're going to start with going over comments, whips. I have a finish. It's not fully finished. It's not a, FFO. But it is finished. Y'all will get to see and hear the debacle that happened with it. We're not sure we're going to fix it, and I say we, and I'll explain that later. Because I have finished a project, I can start a project. I'll go over that. Acronyms for the newbies, because for the longest time, as a new floss tuber myself, I sat there and I was like, what do all these acronyms mean? Like, I know what some of them mean, but they become such a daily rhetoric for the people on Flosstube that the first time you watch a couple of videos, you're like, what does LNS mean? All of the floss tubes out there are like, oh my god, this is what it means. And yes, I now know what it means. However, for the longest time, I did not. So for all of my new people, because I have gotten some comments from new people, I'm going to go over acronyms for you. My Fangirl portion, it's going to be continuing. I'm going to continue calling it the Fangirl portion just because somebody really told me that they liked that. So I'll go over that. And then life updates. So it'll start with comments, whips, finishes, and then I'll let you know when I go into acronyms, and then choosing a pattern for me to work on. I am going to leave that up to a vote to see what happens. If I don't get very many votes, then I'll just choose, whatever I want to work on. But if I have some number of votes, then we'll go over that. So there's that. I have the patterns over here. So let's get started. So first portion, comments. Peggy McSistall. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I really don't. So she asked, how do you do your all over patterns? Do you park, grid, or travel? So the one full coverage project that I have started doesn't have a lot of color changes, so I haven't gridded. I haven't had a chance to park, so I mean, I kind of travel, but right now it's just two basic colors that I'm working with, and I'll go over that when I go over my whips. But so I don't need to park. If I have done a lot of research on parking, as a matter of fact, my unicorn project, I do kind of a parking method, not really. I'll go over it more when I get to there. But I believe that if I had a project that had a whole bunch of color changes, I would park, just because I don't want to end my thread every time I get to a point where I'm not using that color anymore, because it seems annoying to me. And I like the parking method because then your other stitches kind of tie that stitch down so that it doesn't necessarily dirty up the back of your project. The back of my projects. aren't always clean. One of them is right now. I'll go over that later. But so I feel like I would do more parking so I don't have to clear my throat. I am going to drink some tea. This is another Stitcher that I watched. I watched so many Stitchers. I really feel like it seems like I have no life. Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World. She was talking about going to Target and buying ridiculously large mugs, like that were a half gallon. This was a Christmas present, and it says "Namaste in bed." I got this from a friend that I was taking a yoga course with at the local community college for my PE credit for my degree, and she got this for me for Christmas, and it's massive. It's probably about 2 cups of tea, and I absolutely love this mug. As a matter of fact, it got a little crack, and I have super glued it to reinforce it. And I am drinking Hardy & Sons London Fog, which has a very nice lavender and bergamot flavor to it. So there's that. Next is Judy Coach, I believe. And she talked about storing projects in pillowcases. I actually have some projects that are about to get put on frames. More on that later. And I am actually going to try the pillowcase because I think the pillowcase is going to be the only thing that will store it. And I might even modify some of the pillowcases I have and put like straps on them because I'm totally like one of those bag people that I need my stuff to be in bags so that it's easy to transport, because I'm one of those rare male stitchers who doesn't mind stitching in public. And I get a lot of support, but even more weird looks, because, you know, everybody thinks that stitching is a grandma thing, and it's not. It's an anxiety thing. It helps. I suffer from ADD, and it really helps me to focus my mind. And what I mean by that is when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to somebody, my mind will wander. I'm still listening to them. I'm still retaining the information that they are providing. However, my attention is also divided because it goes off on this tangent, like at church. Oh, look at how beautiful the light shines through that stained glass window. I wonder how they made that stained glass window. I wonder what that dude's life was like. Or maybe it was a woman. What if it was a woman who everybody thought was a dude, because everybody just assumes that people who do stained glass are men. And the entire time I'm listening to the sermon and how we should be more like Jesus and all that fun stuff. The reason I'm frumpy today is I did not go to church because I walked 8 miles yesterday and my hips hurt and I did not feel like going. So I will be doing the pillowcase. I want to thank all of the people for the positive comments. I'm actually, last check was up to like 107 subscribers, and it was in a really short period of time. I was thinking my video was going to go unnoticed. I figured there were so many Flosstubers that nobody would notice me and I would not be popular and I would not gain so many followers, nor would I gain so many comments. I figured I'd have maybe 50 views by this Sunday, and the number is a lot higher. So I need to thank all of the people who have, talked about comments and other people's floss tubes. So grateful. She has a floss tube. She mentioned me in her floss tube. And I don't know if she's watching, but she's probably one of the happiest people I have ever seen. And it's absolutely amazing. And she talked about her library, and I'm a little jealous. More on that later. So, whips. In this portion, I will go over the works in progress that I still have that I'm actually working on. The first one I'm going to go over is Plus Ultra. I am going to put a picture here. Hopefully I will figure this out. I did actually learn some about editing, so it should have appeared up here by now. It's a super cute pattern. I am actually stitching it as a tester. I sent her a Facebook message, because that's how I discovered her, and asked her if she could tell me where she's selling the pattern, and she told me she'd get back to me on that. And it's part of a Facebook group, and I don't want her to be bombarded because I think she's the only manager of the group. So I'll even see if I can post about the group, but at the same time, this is a pattern she is trying to sell, and if it's still up for free on the Facebook group, I don't want her to lose the business, and I know all of you are like angry at me for that, but I really am trying to support the independent person. Like, that's important that we support the people who work hard to give us something to do, because I can't design. So over on this side, I will post what it looks like last video, and then this is, oops, a magnet. So this is how far I've gotten. Light, camera. It's not super far. I have gotten more far. You will see tent stitching here, because I haven't finished the crosses. I ran out of thread, and I decided I wanted to work on blue. I did have the blue part here, so I just went and finished that row after I got done with the yellow, just to finish off that thread. And I was talking about how clean the back of my projects are. This one's super clean because there aren't a lot of color changes, so it looks super nice. That's the cleanest any one of my projects has ever looked. I remember the first project I had, it looked like a sea of colored spider webs through a forest of never-ending trees. It was a mess, but, you know, I was young and dumb. Young and inexperienced. We'll go young and inexperienced. So, this one is really clean. And once again, this is Pulse Ultra. You should have seen, hopefully I got it figured out, the pictures. If not, then I'll edit this part out, because I have done a little bit of editing. And you'll see where I was and what the completed pattern looks like. I did get permission to show it. So, I do have that permission, and y'all appreciate that. So there's that one. Next up is The Unicorn by Teresa Winsler. Picture here. Now, okay. So that picture should have shown up. If not, then that'll be edited out. And then the picture of where I was last week. And then now. So, really, I focused on this area. This is the end of the tree. This tree is in a corner. I can't get past that word. So the tree was, this is the top of the pattern, top end of the right-hand side, because I started from the right and I'm working towards the left. So I wanted to go ahead and finish the tree, and I'm coming down with the tree. So this area right here is going to start a lot of color changes. I'm super nervous about that. This is a parked thread, y'all, and I will probably consider doing the parking method through here, because so many of these are blended threads. I don't want to have to start and stop them just because it's a pain in the rear. So once again, my needle minder that my aunt made, I'm like super proud of that. I love showing it off, because neither one of us ever intended it to be a needle minder, but that's what it's become, and it's super cute, and I think she should make more and sell them. But she's really into selling stuff on eBay right now, and so I'm not trying to give her more work to do. And this is the back of that pattern, or the back of that project. As you can see, this is not so clean. This is a little bit more messy. I'm obsessive compulsive about making sure my threads will not come out of my project, because I am terrified that I'm going to have worked really hard to stitch something, and in the framing process or the washing process, it's going to come out, and that terrifies me. It really does, because I will cry, will bawl like a child, just because I will be so frustrated that I have to go back and try and figure out where I am in the pattern, restitch what came undone with new thread, and try and knot off the thread that came undone so it doesn't come unraveled anymore. So those are my two current whips. Next is my finish. I will say, it took me less than an hour to do this, maybe right around an hour, to finish this project, and the only reason I finished it was so I could have a finish on YouTube. Y'all are keeping me accountable, and I was thinking about starting 2 projects this week, like a smaller project that I could finish so that I constantly have a finish, because this is a really gratifying emotion right now. Like, I feel like I really accomplished something and I get to show it off to y'all, so that makes me feel that much better. So I thought about doing smaller projects so that I constantly had a finish, but 4 whips seems like a lot for me. I'm not a monogamous stitcher. I really do need several things that I can hop between for when I get bored with something. But having Stitch Mania, I've watched Stitch Mania where people start a new project every day, and there was Christmas in July where people started a new ornament every day. I can't do that. That's too many projects for me. That's really overwhelming. Way too much anxiety going on with, oh my god, there are so many projects I have to work on and finish, because I feel like once I start something, I have to finish it. Which is funny, because I have a quilt project. It is a hand applique project that I've been working on for years, and I have 3 of the 11 blocks done and none of the border. It was a block of the month, so I know that there are 11 blocks, and then the border counted as 1 block. So I haven't worked on that at all. However, my hands sweat a lot. I'll get into that too. And so that's more of a winter project for me, just because when the fabric starts to get wet, sewing with it becomes, the cotton thread going through the fabric becomes a hassle and something that's hard to deal with. And I can't do what I do when I cross stitch, which is I use cotton gloves, because I am more likely to sew my glove to the fabric, which I've discovered I kind of do when I cross stitch. If I'm doing the sewing method, I have actually sewn my glove a couple of times to the back of my project, and have had to go back and undo a couple of stitches to get my glove off of the back of my project. Okay, so finish. This is my finish. And y'all are going to gasp in horror when I show it to you, because we washed it. And anyway, so this is my finish. I'm super proud of my finish. However, it did have some bleeding. So we'll start at the top. And then you can clearly see where when we went to go soak it, some of the colors weren't color fast and they bled. So, top, bleeding, and we're really not. So this is my aunt's project. I finished it for her because she asked me to. I don't mind finishing other people's projects, but she was like, I kind of like the bleeding. I'm like, if you want to leave the bleeding on there, go for it. The beets bled in the soil. It rained. Why not? And this is the poem, and you can see her initials here. She really did do most of this project. I just finished a little bit. I'll go over that here in a little bit. And then my initials and the year. So the pattern came out in 1984, which was 4 years before I was born. And she thinks that she may have started it around that, and we finished it in 2019. So my contribution to this project was the tree, the leaves on the tree. I did not actually do any X's on this entire project. Most of it was lazy daisies and backstitching. And then I came down here, did lazy daisies and the stems on the beans, and the French knots. French knots I was totally having problems with. It's been so long since I did them that I had issues with those. So you can kind of see the French knots, maybe a little. You will notice that there are 2 different colors in the stocks, because I did too light of a color the first time, and then the second time I went back over it because I wasn't going to pull out my stitches with the green that was darker than it was supposed to be. So 2 colors there. The tops of the carrots, the back stitching on this little wheelbarrow, the stems on the squash, and the stems and leaves on the eggplant, not the cross-stitch leaves, the little sprouts. So honestly, I really didn't do that much, and it shouldn't have taken me as long as it did. However, lazy daisies and backstitching suck. Just saying, not my favorite part of this project. I probably would have liked the cross-stitching more. And when my aunt was like, I don't understand why I didn't finish it. After I got done with it, I was like, I totally understand why you didn't finish it. It was boring. You had completed the fun portion of the project and we're on to the boring stuff that just became monotonous. It was, I will say, so Teresa's Little Stitcher, another woman that I watch a lot of Flosstube. She was talking about how she started a needlepoint project that doesn't focus on cross stitch. It's more needlepoint. It is on Ada, but it has a lot of specialty stitches. And she talks about how much of a relief it can be to work on something that isn't X's after working on something that is X's for so long. And I will say, after working on my other two projects, coming to this and doing the back stitching, it was super fast and it made me feel like I was accomplishing something really quickly. I'm not going to set that on the floor. It's not where it was before, it was somewhere else. But I'm not going to set it on the floor because it is clean. Well, kind of. She says that she might fix it. I don't know. My aunt who washed it, her favorite thing to do is get stains out of clothes. I'm not even joking. And so when she saw that I wasn't upset, she's like, well, I kind of like it. But at first she was like, I'll get it out. And I'm like, I'm not worried about it. It's your project. Like, we're going to hang it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to hang in our house. I don't ever plan on entering it into a festival or anything for judging because it's a joint project that you did most of. Like, it really is your project. I just finished it for you because you lost your stitching bug. Which, apparently, due to my current interest in stitching, has come back to her. Can you believe it, y'all? I have actually encouraged somebody else to stitch. And if I'm encouraging you to learn, I will tell you there are lots of videos for starters. At some point, I may film a tutorial, but I really don't know. First off, I don't have the setup that a lot of people have with their tripods and their cameras, and I'm not sure I'm going to invest in one because I don't have the money for it right now, and that just seems like a lot for something that I don't think I'm going to do forever ever. So the purple fabric that my unicorn is printed on, or is done on, I was talking about how it's a 29 count. Some of y'all were probably like, no, it's a 28 count. What are you talking about 29 count? Because most fabric is an even count. So, this is the piece that came with the fabric. It talks about the size. It was 16 by 22, the count, which is 29 count, and the price, which was $24. This is who made it. This piece of fabric was bought so long that I don't know that this company still exists. And I'm really gonna hope that this isn't backwards for y'all. I'll try and see what I can do. But that's, just in case y'all were wondering, like, it really is a 29 count. It kind of looks like that's a 6 from looking at the camera, but I'm really hoping that I'm going to be able to reverse that. So, next is kind of going to be a haul. This is where you get to vote on which project I'm going to work on. So it's not all of my projects. These are the projects that these are the patterns that I have that I would be willing to work on right now. It will not be all of my patterns. I don't plan on ever doing a video that is just all of my patterns because that seems like it's a lot, and I do have a lot of PDFs. So there's that. So this first piece I kind of feel obligated to work on because a friend bought it for me, and if you're watching, Erin, I love you, but I don't know that I'm ready to start this yet. It'll get started eventually, just maybe not right now. She told me that she wanted me to start a project for her, and I was like, okay. And she's like, I want something with flowers. She's a history major. So I was like, flowers, history major. Ooh, the Tudor rose, which is technically a flower. So I went and I found this pattern, and I was talking to her, and I was like, well, I'll have to wait until I have the money. And she's like, send me a picture or send me the link. So I sent her the link, and like the next thing I know, while we're FaceTiming it, she ordered it. So this is the Tudor stained glass rose. It's super pretty. Now it is charted for anchor. However, this company was great. Company info size, count. Hopefully I will be able to get this turned around for y'all. I'll double check. Anyway, it was done in Anchor. However, they sent me this great chart that's an Anchor to DMC floss conversion. Now, they do tell you that they're not 100% like precise matches, but that they're close matches, that they're the equivalent of. And that was really cool. I've never used Anchor, or if I have used Anchor, I didn't know I was using Anchor because it was part of a kit. I will probably use DMC. So, this is one of the votes. So, if you like this one, let me know, Tutor Rose, in the comments. And I really am, I get emails, and because I'm one of those people who's like, oh, look, I have so many friends. Like, I feel like I'm popular, because people like me, I guess. I do check my YouTube probably like 3 or 4 times a day and check for comments and followers. And I do visit your page if you follow me. So there are quite a few people on my Fangirl portion that I discovered because they followed me. So if you like that, put Tutor Rose in the comments. I'll mark a tally. I will actually show y'all the tally sheet next Sunday. So it will be next Sunday when I announce what I'll start working on, and I will not start working on something until I have gone over the vote. So the next one is called Shall We Dance, and we found this at, if you live in the Houston area, I will tell you where I live. I live in Houston. If you live in the Houston area, there is a place called the Art Asylum. And my aunt and I have kind of gone over their cross-stitch portion, but they have a lot of needlepoint, and they do have some cross-stitch stuff that it wasn't a big deal for me. They have some full kits, and it's actually done by the pound. So they weigh the items, and you pay so much per pound. But they have so much more than needlepoint. They have fabric, they have wood stuff, they have buttons, they have anything that you could possibly use in a work of art they have. It's absolutely amazing. I will try and put a link in the description so that if you're in the Houston area or you're visiting the Houston area, you can go there and check them out. It's an artist thrift shop, and they're working really hard to organize it, and it's looking a lot better. But so we found this there, and we don't know if somebody's stash got cleared out after somebody like passed away or something, but we found quite a few of these patterns, and we slowly brought them home. And some of them we've sold on eBay, and some of them we've kept. But so it's Dimples, and this is titled Shall We Dance. Now this is technically a petty point, which is 1/1 from what I'm told. It does give you sizes for 2/2 as well. It's done in DMC, and I really love that little fairy and the fact that it's a hummingbird. I don't know why I like hummingbirds so much, but I really do. Now, Terrence Nolan, if anybody knows anything about him, that'd be great, because every single one of the Dimples patterns that we had was done by Terrence Nolan. We even have one that's signed. And we have sold some of them that we didn't like as much, and the sad thing is I say we've sold them. We've posted them on eBay. However, they haven't sold, and I'm kind of to that point where it's like, maybe I want to keep them. Maybe I want to do them, because they're super cute, and most of them are, I think actually all of them are birds. I don't know if he did anything else, but all we have are birds. I mean, clearly he did a fairy. So this next one is a cutesy pattern. I have a thing for dragons. I love dragons. My dad's all about the unicorns. I'm all about the dragons. I've loved dragons ever since I was little. You know, I wanted a pet dragon when I was little. So this one's kind of cute. My grandmother sent me a copy of the pattern that she had, and the majesty, magic, and wisdom. I think it's super cute. This border, though, I've looked at it. I've looked at the chart. So many color changes, and frequently. But I love Celtic knot designs, so it's super interesting. So if you like this one, put Dimples in the comment section, and I will add it to my tally mark, Dimples, Dimples. I'll know which pattern because it's the only Dimples pattern that you're going to see today. If you like this one, Legends of the Dragon is the name. And it's actually designed by 3 people. Okay. So, in my last video, I talked about Teresa Winsler and her blended threads and how I kind of hated her for it. I love her designs, but those blended threads, oh my god. I just looked at the bottom of this pattern. Karen Weaver, Jennifer Ackman Smith, and Teresa Winsler, of course. I tell you, if it's a Teresa Winsler pattern, I love it. She's my favorite designer and has been forever. So, we'll call this Legend of the Dragons. Vote for that if it's what you like. This next one is actually 2 patterns. And I would be willing to do either one of them. So, it's another Teresa Winsler design. They're Teresa Winsler's Petites. And it's the castle and the dragon. So that's why that one's not just going to be titled The Dragon, is because, or The Dragons, is because I do have one that is titled Dragon. So this is the dragon. This is the castle. So if you want to vote for the dragon, vote dragon in comments. For the castle, vote castle. I'd be willing to do both. This one, if you want to vote for it, vote Dreamscape. It's the only Dreamscape pattern that I have. And because this one is also titled The Castle, so it would be very difficult. And once again, it's a Teresa Winsler. So there are a lot of people who are like, oh, I know this pattern, and I know I'm going to have so many votes for this pattern. Once again, so many blended threads. But look at how pretty it is. I mean, I absolutely love this pattern. I have thought about doing this pattern since I first learned to cross stitch, and my aunt had to talk me out of it because it was blended threads, and she's like, you're gonna hate it. You don't want to do that. You can't do that. Don't do that. You're not experienced enough to do that. And she really was right. I don't even feel like I'm experienced enough to do the Teresa Winsler that I'm doing, and this one is just massive. So that one is titled Dreamscape. Vote Dreamscape. The title is The Castle by Teresa Winsler, but vote Dreamscape if that's the one you want. This next one is, once again, another Teresa Winsler. I really do have a small obsession and a small problem. This one is called The Storyteller, and once again, it has a dragon in it. I really do have a problem, but I love this Celtic knotwork. Once again, I'm obsessed with Celtic knotwork, and I love that, and I can only imagine how many color changes that is. Seriously. Here's another, this is the back of the booklet. It's just so pretty. Teresa Winsler, if you watch this, you're an amazing designer, but the blended threads are the bane of my existence. Just, I doubt she's ever going to see this. And if one of you is a friend of hers and you tell her to come watch this video, I'm going to love/hate you, because I feel like to some extent I've been bashing her because of the blended threads and the half stitches and my unicorn. The half stitches are really 3/4 stitches because I feel like it gives it better coverage. That's just me. So, oh, and then last but not least, I'm going to have to reach for this one so I'm not afraid. Last one is going to be the Town Square Afghan that I have started. I will post a picture of what I have here. Let me open up the... I did get a lot of comments about this, about the fact that these magazines are for sale on eBay. However, I have messaged some people about whether or not they have these, and I don't ever get a reply back. So I have messaged them, and I'm not going to be that person who buys like 20 magazines and hopes that I find just one, because then I'm going to turn around and sell them on eBay. And I literally just want these patterns. I don't even want the whole magazine. I'm sure what I'm about to say is a violation of copyrights, but if somebody had the magazines and was just willing to sell me, or send me, not even sell me, because selling me a copy of a pattern is a copyright infringement, but gift me the PDF, because you wanted to keep the magazine, I'm totally okay with that. I really just need the pattern. And I just need the town square Afghan pattern. That's all I want. And see, sweaty hands, really? I'm sorry, guys, sweaty hands. But all I want is the patterns for this. I don't want the whole magazines. I'm not going to use the whole magazines. I've thought about scanning these and putting them in PDF form so that I can use my iPad, because I really do use my iPad for all of my cross stitch, which means that I can't watch Flosstube on my iPad while I cross stitch, but I listen to podcasts while I stitch, because I don't have to worry about like looking up and catching what they're trying to show me in a designated fashion. So if you want to vote for that, that is, we'll call it the town square, or call it the Afghan, just Afghan. Put your vote for the Afghan. So I'm going to go through them all real quick. So Afghan is the Afghan. Let me know, Afghan, if you think I should work on the Afghan. I will even work on it even though I don't have all of the patterns. So I have 2 of like 24 or whatever it is. So this one is the storyteller. So type the storyteller in the comments below if you think I should work on that. We'll call this one Dreamscape. So type in Dreamscape in the comments below if you want to vote for this one. Okay, this one, I'm only doing one of them. I'm not doing both of them. So either the castle or the dragon. In the comments below, not both. If they're a tie for you, put them in the tie. I will tally one for each. However, it's the one that gets the most votes. I'm not going to do both of them if one of them wins. So the next one is Legends of the Dragons. Let me know in the comments below. Shall We Dance, which we are calling Dimples. So type Dimples in the comments if you believe I should work on this one next. Or the Tudor Rose, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of votes for this just because my friend paid for it. She will probably even actually vote. I don't know if she watches this, but Erin, if you watches this, I know which one you're voting on. And if you don't vote on it, I would be a little surprised, but she might not vote on it just to prove me wrong, because we're that kind of friends. So there are those. Let me know in the comments below. I will tally them up, and I will make an announcement next Sunday. Sunday. So that completes the cross-stitch portion of this video. So if that's all you wanted to be here for, then bye. I hope that you come and see me next Sunday. Leave comments. Let me know your... So that completed the cross-stitch portion. If you are an experienced person on Flosstube, then let me know. Whatever. Or don't let me know. Then you don't have to stick around for the next part. The next part is going to be acronyms. So this is lessons for everybody who is new to Flosstube. So my acronyms for the newbies: LNS, local needlepoint store, shop. I've been to some needlepoint stores, but they're just that. They focused on needlepoint. There wasn't a lot of cross stitch. They had beautiful, amazing thread selections. Any kind of thread you can imagine, they had it. However, it was canvas needlepoint, not cross stitch, and I don't do canvas needlepoint, and the reason being is because a lot of it is done in yarn, and my hands don't like yarn because they're sweaty. So, LNS, local needlepoint shop. A whip, work in progress. You will hear this a lot on this video. You'll hear a lot about that in Flosstube. As a matter of fact, everybody has a whip section, and it's them talking about their works in progress. An FFO, a fully, or in my case, finally finished object. This is typically, people will talk about FFOs when they have framed a piece or finished it off into a pillow or something along those lines. I say finally finished project. Like, I really would consider the garden an FFO because it's a finally finished project. However, most people just call those finishes so that they don't confuse it with an actual FFO, which is a fully finished object. And then the last one is the ever dreaded UFO. And UFOs are unfinished objects. Often projects that we have gotten frustrated with because we have either discovered a mess up that we have to go and frog, which frogging is an emotional endeavor. If you haven't done it yet and you're thinking about cross-stitching, you will do it at some point, and it sucks because you're just thinking about all of the time and effort it took to get to where you were and the fact that you're sitting there undoing that work. It's really hard. So a lot of times if somebody discovers a frog or a frogging scenario, or they discover that the fabric is too short or something, they put the project away until they can work through the emotional turmoil and come to terms with the fact that they will have to frog or restart or figure some solution for some problem out on their project. So those are some acronyms. If I missed any acronyms that you've heard about, put them in the comments below. I'll try and go over them in the next Flosstube video. Next is my fangirl portion. Oh my god, Erica D. House noticed me. She knows about me. Like, oh my god. I watched her video before I filmed this video. Like, she's the person I watched before I filmed the first video. Erica D. House, you're the whole reason I do this. Really, you are. I don't know if you subscribed. I don't know if you're going to see this video, but that's the truth. Fangirl, y'all. Fangirl. She saw my video, y'all. Actually saw it. Commented on it. Oh my god. So there's that. Ginger Gerald Stitcher, Stitching and Sound. I already mentioned y'all. I love y'all. Y'all my homeboys. Y'all don't know it, but y'all close to my heart. Y'all were the first 2 male stitchers that I watched on a regular basis, and I miss you both. I know, life, it sucks. It's a thing, it happens, and I'm sure y'all are both busy and doing better things with your time, but I miss you both. Oh, Fangirl Stitcher. Yeah, Stitcher. I absolutely love your videos. And so there are a lot of people who do weekly updates, and then there are bi-weekly, and then there are monthly, and then there are, every other month. She's like a once a year kind of girl, and I think she has intentions to like start posting more. But because you only post once a year, it's made it super easy to like try and catch up with you. And your videos are kind of long, so when I have some time to actually sit down and watch them, I can sit down and watch them. I totally share your love of books. I've had cats, and I love cats, but cats are not my favorite. I'm totally a dog person. I would totally prefer having a dog sit in my lap while I stitch as opposed to having a cat begging for attention. It's sad, but it's true, and specifically pugs. If you want to win my heart over it, like, a pug is it. I probably at some point will wind up stitching a pug. But pugs are... I had one for 12 and a half years. He passed away, sadly, a few years ago. My little stitching buddy. And I haven't replaced him because I'm at a transitional point in my life. But I totally miss him. And he was my fur baby, y'all. Fangirl, absolutely love you. You mentioned that you had the unicorn, but were intimidated by it. It is a little intimidating. But, do it. You only live once, right? YOLO. Wait, you do have a lot of projects started, like, a lot of projects started, and I totally get that. And you had so many kits. They were really cute kits, though, but so many kits. And your scissor collection was super cute, and it kind of made me want to start a scissor collection, but no. Once again, I'm broke most of the time, and there are other things I would want to spend my money on, just personally. Stitching and Sound, Kyle Reckemeyer, love him. Like, he's absolutely hilarious, and he really does cuss. I don't cuss on these videos. There are some other videos I do. You should check those out. They're life advice called Don't Make Me Adult Today. If you're interested in checking those out, they're geared towards younger people. I'm 30, so they're geared towards people in their early, mid-20s, talking about things that I've learned over the years. So, advice from someone around their age that maybe they would be able to relate to. I do cuss in those videos. It's the demographic I'm aiming for. That's how we communicate. My aunt gets on to me about my cussing all the time, which is why I tone it down for these videos, just because I know it can be offensive to some people. So, I try. Those videos, however, I really don't hold back. I did kind of hold back that first video, but you'll hear it all. There will be the F-bomb, S-word, like, a whole bunch of stuff. Mind My Needle. So, I am international, y'all. That's another really exciting thing. So, she owns a shop, I believe, called Mind My Needle. And she has a Flosstube. Super cute. She's from New Zealand. It said New Zealand X. I don't know what the X meant. And I'm international, y'all. There are people in other countries who know about me and follow me. Like, that's really cool. So, I was super excited about that. And she makes really cute, I even put a note down. She makes really cute project bags with matching needle books. At some point when I have some money, I will try and order one. They were super cute. The mermaid one was really, really cute. She has a zombie one coming up. And then I believe the other fabric was like unicorns. I think it was unicorns. I totally ordered the unicorn one, but that's because I am a unicorn, because I'm special. So, at least that's what my mama told me every morning as she put that tinfoil helmet on me and loaded me onto the short bus. You are special. You are special, and don't let nobody tell you different. So, special, y'all. My mama told me so. But that was really cool. And I have this thing about listening to YouTubers who have accents outside of an American accent. Because I know they're sitting there like, we love your accent too. But I love... And the New Zealand accent is something that I don't hear very often. So when I saw that she followed me, I subscribed back. And when I subscribe back, I have to actually watch a channel. Or watch one. So I started watching one of hers, and she talked about her project bags and her needle minders, and then I had something I had to go do, so I was paused in the middle of the video. But loved listening to her talk. I love the New Zealand accent, and this is the first time like I've sat down and actually listened to a New Zealand accent for an extended period of time. It was really cool. Teresa's Little Stitcher, she's another one that I really just like listening to her accent. And she's talked about some people leaving comments about love the accent, and she's like, well, I think that's kind of weird, but you know, whatever. I really do. It's a thing. Magnolia Nana, she's a fellow Texan, y'all. I'm super excited about that. And for my fellow Texans, I do live down in Houston, but if at some point I travel a lot, or I would like to travel a lot, if I start traveling more, we should totally figure out a time where we can meet up and sit down and have some coffee and maybe stitch together. I really don't have anybody to stitch with here. I know I could probably find a group, but I haven't yet. So, you know, hi Magnolia Nana. I really did enjoy I watched the one where you showed the haul that you had gotten for your anniversary. And that one project that you said you wouldn't have chosen, but that it had significance for your relationship. I get why you wouldn't have chosen it for yourself, but it's really cool that that's something that y'all want to do together and y'all share that interest. That's really cool. So Magnolia Nana, listening to you was great, and true Southern elegance right there. And then so grateful, I did mention her, and she's literally the happiest person I have ever seen. And she really is grateful. And she mentioned her library and how Beauty and the Beast was one of my favorite princesses, and it's because she got the library. And so she mentioned her library, and I was like, say what? You have a library? I'm so jelly right now. Like, the fact that you have a library in your house, just... I kind of want to see it now. How big is it? Like, is it floor-to-ceiling books? on all four walls? And is it like a big room, or is it more of like a library closet? Because when I think library, I do think of the grandiose Beauty and the Beast library that's, you know, technically 2 floors, floor to ceiling books on through 4 walls with like a grand entrance, and that's how I see in a library. And then I see like the public libraries that are a large facility that house a lot of books, and then I see their home libraries in my mind that are like the size of a dining room that are filled with books. But I also imagine that if you're taking a room out of your house to create or turn into a library, it would probably be a smaller room. So one of the rooms that you may not be as interested in using as a guest bedroom or a craft room, so a smaller room. And in my mind, that's a library closet. We'll call it a library closet. Because once you add bookshelves, that takes up a lot of room. People don't understand. Adding bookshelves to a room takes up a lot of room. Or was it a room specifically designed to be a library? That's really cool too. So there's my tangent. That is all of my fangirl stuff, y'all. So fangirl, complete. I do want to go back to my acronyms for a minute. The LNS. People are wondering, do you have a local needlepoint store? I mentioned the needlepoint stores that were predominantly focused on needlepoint. So when I came home, I Googled a cross-stitch store, and I found that there is one. It is 45 minutes away from my house and on the other side of Houston. Literally, the other side of Houston. And if you are not from Houston, you don't know, traffic here is awful. I can think of at least 2 portions where traffic slows consistently between half from my house to halfway there. And I know that there are portions where the same thing happens on the other side of town. At some point, I will try and get there. And when I do, I'm hoping that I'll talk to the shop owner, see if I can take some pictures, see if I can do like a little tour and promote them on my YouTube. So there's that. And then, so this last part, if you just do not do life updates, go ahead, end it now. The next part is going to be some life updates. After that, I plan on posting some pictures, doing like a little slideshow of my garden, because I do garden as well. So there's that. But if you're kind of done with me because this video is kind of long, I totally get it. So there's that. I was getting rid of a notification. So my life updates. Y'all have heard me talk about how broke I am. I have been job searching, and I actually got a soft offer for a position working as a patient care technician in a hospital. I won't give any personal details, but that is what I do. And there were some contingencies. I needed to renew my CPR certification, which I have now done, and I needed to renew my CNA certification, which I'm in the process of doing. I will actually do that next week after my birthday, which is August the 19th. Happy birthday to me. I will do another video before that, so I wasn't really going to focus on that. But so I'm waiting for that. That's the 21st. Once that's all done, I should be able to send them the paperwork, and then they should send me an official offer. They are also doing a background check, so we'll see what happens. And my car broke down this week. I drive a Toyota Prius. Won't say what year, what make, or, you know, I won't say what year and I won't say what color just because I don't want to be stalked. It's happened. And so I'm driving, and all of a sudden all my lights come on, and then about 4 miles down the road, my car shuts down. Like, completely shuts down. So I get home. I finally managed to get it home slowly and methodically and down back roads with my hazards on the entire way. Work on something, check on something, drive it around the block. It seems like it's doing fine. I drive it 4 miles, and then all the lights come back on. So I pulled over. I tried driving it one more time and was just too freaked out by it. So pulled over, and I have roadside assistance included with my insurance, so called my insurance company and was like, can you send a tow truck, please? I'm not okay to drive my vehicle. We drove it to my family's mechanic. My family's mechanic is like, this is how much it's gonna cost, this is what's wrong with it. I was like, let me talk to some family members because I'm broke, see what I can do. They said, go ahead, get it fixed. And so they're like, okay, we'll have it ready for you the next day. They call me probably like 2 hours before they close. They're like, okay, it's ready. I get it right over there. I have made it maybe a city block, and a light comes on and it says that my coolant temperature level is too high. I stop at a stoplight that I've come to. At this point, I'm trying to pull out the manual to figure out what lights mean what, because the symbols are symbols that I'm familiar with, but this is a Toyota Prius. This is unlike any vehicle I've ever driven before. So I gotta double check. I gotta make sure that it's accurate. And the lights go off. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's because they replaced this part. It's just trying to get used to everything. They're trying to communicate with each other. And I start accelerating, and half a city block down, the lights come back on. So I pull into the nearest parking lot. I at this point actually check to see what the symbols mean, and they're telling me that the coolant temperature is that it's not cooling properly, that the engine temperature is getting too high. And for me, this is something that they were supposed to work on. This is something they were supposed to fix. So I turned around. I'm like 2 blocks away at this point. So I turn around, call him while I'm on my way. He put me on hold, and then I'm pulling in. So I go ahead and hang up, and he calls me back. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm back because some lights came on. I had the manual out, so I showed him what lights came on because once I stopped the car, they turned off. Told him that it was every time I accelerated. He got in the car, he revved the engine, saw what I was talking about, read the engine codes on it, said, okay, well, it looks like the part we got was faulty, so we're gonna go ahead and replace it, no extra charge to you. That was Thursday. Friday, I get a call from him, and he's like, okay, the part we had wasn't faulty, this is what it really was, however, we can't get that part until Monday. So my poor car, y'all, has been in the shop since last Wednesday. And they're just supposed to, I'm assuming it's going to be a quick repair once they get the part, but I'm waiting for them to get the part, if you see what I mean. So I'm sad. I miss my car. It's hard going from having a form of transportation to having no form of transportation, especially because there were some things that I was supposed to do throughout the week that I haven't been able to accomplish because they required me traveling. And the family member I live with has a day job, so is unable to just drive me around all the time. They are willing to give me rides when they're home, but I don't have a vehicle, and it's been rough, so I miss my car. I'm ready to have it back. I'll be super happy when she's back in my life. She is a she. Her name is Ruby. If you hear me talk about Ruby, I'm talking about my car. And for all my anime nerds, yes, it's Ruby from the anime Ruby. So that really completes this Flosstube. It's probably a really long video, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. I am gonna have to splice things together, so there will be some transitions. I will try and put pictures at the end of this of my garden. Hopefully everything works out. So I'm gonna get working on editing, y'all, so that I can get this uploaded, because it takes forever for it to upload on my YouTube. Look at that curl, y'all. The beard is a little rough right now. It'll get trimmed up here soon. But thank y'all for watching and sticking around for as long as you have. I look forward to filming another video Sunday. Let me know what your votes are. If you're still watching, let me know what your votes are. And peace out, y'all. Keep stitching.